What if a simple prank turned into something that would change two lives forever? If you've ever believed in fate or second chances, this story might just restore your faith. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us of the unexpected ways life can surprise us. Sarah clutched her coffee cup tightly as she scanned the crowded airport terminal. Her flight had been delayed 3 hours already, and her nerves were frayed. Between juggling her job as a pediatric nurse, caring for her 7-year-old daughter Emma, and now this unexpected travel delay, she was exhausted. The girls from work had insisted she needed this weekend getaway to her sister's place in Chicago. "You haven't had a break since the divorce," they'd said. What they hadn't mentioned was their little surprise. "Remember that guy we pointed out?" her coworker Jen texted. "The one with the little boy? He's a single dad heading to Chicago too. We may have switched your seat assignment to be next to him. You can thank us later." Sarah's cheeks burned. She typed back furiously, "You did what?" but the damage was done. She glanced across the terminal where a tall man with dark hair sat reading a book to a small boy about Emma's age. Great. Her well-meaning friends had turned her into an unwitting participant in some ridiculous setup. When boarding finally began, Sarah found herself walking down the aisle, counting row numbers with dread. There he was in 14C, the single dad, now looking up as she approached. The little boy had fallen asleep against his shoulder. Up close, she noticed the man's eyes, kind, but with a weariness she recognized all too well. 14B, he asked quietly, gesturing to the middle seat. "Yes," Sarah replied, trying to hide her embarrassment. "Sorry in advance if I'm not great company. My friends thought they were being clever." He raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess, well-meaning friends who think single parents should be matched up like puzzle pieces?" Sarah couldn't help but laugh. "Something like that." "I'm Michael," he said, offering his free hand. "And this is Ethan." "Sarah," she replied, shaking it. "My daughter Emma is staying with my parents this weekend while I visit my sister." As the plane took off, Sarah found herself relaxing. Michael was easy to talk to, and they shared stories of the challenges of single parenthood. He spoke of Ethan with such tenderness that Sarah couldn't help but be moved. When turbulence hit, she gripped the armrest, and Michael distracted her with funny stories about his job as an architect. "So what brought you to single parenthood?" Sarah eventually asked, immediately regretting the personal question. "I'm sorry, that's none of my business." Michael was quiet for a moment. "My wife died 3 years ago. Cancer." Sarah's heart sank. "I'm so sorry." "It's been a journey," he said softly. Ethan was only 4. "Some days are harder than others." The conversation flowed naturally after that, their shared experiences creating an unexpected connection. When Ethan woke up, he immediately showed Sarah his favorite dinosaur toy, and she taught him a hand game that Emma loved. As they began their descent into Chicago, Michael hesitated before asking, "Would you and your sister maybe want to join Ethan and me at the Children's Museum tomorrow? He's been begging to go, and it might be more fun with company." Sarah smiled. "I'd like that." They exchanged numbers, and as they parted ways at baggage claim, Sarah felt lighter than she had in months. Maybe her friend's prank wasn't so terrible after all. The next day at the museum, Sarah's sister Melissa joined them, immediately hitting it off with Michael as they watched Ethan explore the exhibits. Sarah found herself studying Michael, the way he patiently answered Ethan's endless questions, how his face lit up when his son discovered something new. "He seems like a good guy," Melissa whispered as they watched the boys at the water table. "He is," Sarah agreed. "But there's something. I don't know. Sometimes when he talks about his work, he gets vague. And he mentioned a foundation he works with, but changed the subject quickly." Melissa shrugged. "Maybe he's just private." Later, as they shared lunch in the museum cafe, Ethan spilled his juice, and Michael quickly cleaned it up with practiced efficiency. "You're good at that," Sarah observed. "Lots of practice," Michael replied with a smile. "Though usually I'm cleaning up much worse messes." "At the architecture firm?" Sarah asked. Michael hesitated. "Actually, no. Just then, a woman approached their table, her eyes wide. "Excuse me," she said, looking at Michael. "Are you Dr. Michael Reeves? The one who performed my daughter's heart surgery last year at Children's Memorial?" Sarah and Melissa exchanged confused glances. Michael smiled warmly at the woman. "Yes, that's me. How is she doing?" "She's wonderful. She's right over there," the woman pointed to a healthy-looking girl playing nearby. "You saved her life. We pray for you every night." After the woman left, Michael turned back to find 3 pairs of eyes staring at him. "Heart surgeon?" Sarah asked. "I thought you were an architect." Michael's face flushed. "I never actually said I was an architect. You mentioned something about building designs, and I just went with it." "But why would you lie about that?" Melissa asked. Michael sighed. "I didn't mean to lie. It's just, when people find out I'm a pediatric cardiac surgeon, the conversation changes. They either put me on some kind of pedestal or they start telling me about every medical issue they've ever had. Sometimes it's nice to just be Michael, Ethan's dad." Sarah felt a mixture of confusion and hurt. "So what else haven't you told me?" "Nothing important," Michael insisted. "Everything about Ethan, about being a widower, about struggling as a single parent, that's all true. That's the real me." The rest of the afternoon was awkward. Sarah felt foolish for having opened up so quickly to someone who hadn't been completely honest with her. As they prepared to leave, Michael pulled her aside. "I'm sorry," he said sincerely. "I should have been upfront with you. The truth is, I enjoyed talking to someone who just saw me as a regular person, not as Dr. Reeves." Sarah nodded, understanding despite herself. "I get it. At the hospital, I'm Nurse Wilson, always composed, always ready with answers. It's exhausting sometimes." "You're a nurse?" Michael asked, surprised. "Pediatrics," Sarah confirmed. "Though not cardiac." Michael laughed softly. "Well, now I feel even worse for not being honest." As they walked toward the exit, Ethan tugged on Michael's hand. "Dad, can Sarah and Miss Melissa come see our foundation tomorrow? Please." Michael looked embarrassed. "Ethan, they probably have other plans." "What foundation?" Sarah asked. Michael hesitated. "After my wife died, I started a foundation in her name. We provide cardiac care for children whose families can't afford it. Tomorrow is our annual family day for the kids who've had surgery." "That's amazing," Melissa said. "It's just something I needed to do," Michael replied. "To make some meaning out of losing her." Sarah felt something shift inside her. The man standing before her wasn't just a single dad or even just a surgeon, he was someone who had channeled his grief into helping others. "We'd love to come," she said, surprising herself. The next day, Sarah and Melissa arrived at a large park where dozens of families had gathered. Children of all ages played on the grass, many bearing the telltale scars of heart surgery. Michael was in the center of it all, laughing with the kids, checking in with parents, his face alight with purpose. When he spotted Sarah, he waved her over to meet some of the families. One mother gripped Sarah's hand tightly. "Dr. Reeves saved my son when 3 other surgeons said it couldn't be done. He's not just a doctor, he's our angel." Throughout the day, Sarah watched as Michael moved from family to family, remembering every child's name, every medical detail. This was a man who carried the weight of countless lives in his hands, yet still found the strength to be fully present for his son. As the event wound down, Sarah found Michael sitting alone on a bench, watching Ethan play with some of the other children. "This is incredible," she said, sitting beside him. "What you've built here." Michael smiled tiredly. "It keeps me going. After Lisa died, I was so angry. I save other people's children every day, but I couldn't save my own wife. This foundation, it helps me remember that even when we lose someone, we can still create something beautiful from that loss." Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. "I've been so focused on what I lost in my divorce, my sense of security, my plans for the future. I never thought about what I might build instead." As the sun began to set, families started to leave, each stopping to thank Michael. Sarah noticed how he knelt down to hug each child, how he remembered specific details about their recoveries. "You know," she said as they walked toward the parking lot, "my friends thought they were playing a joke, putting me next to some random single dad on a plane. They had no idea who you really were." Michael laughed. "And who am I, really?" Sarah considered this. Someone who turned his pain into purpose. Someone who saves lives and still makes time to read dinosaur books to his son. Someone I'm very glad I met, even if it started as a prank. Michael reached for her hand. "Would you and Emma like to have dinner with us next weekend? A proper introduction this time, no pretending, no setups." Sarah smiled. "I'd like that very much." 6 months later, Sarah stood in the observation room above Michael's operating theater, watching as his skilled hands repaired the tiny heart of a 3-year-old girl. Emma and Ethan were at school, and Sarah had taken her lunch break to witness, for the first time, what Michael did every day. The focus on his face, the calm precision of his movements, it was like watching an artist. This was the man she had come to love, not despite his complexities but because of them. A man who carried both tremendous responsibility and deep personal loss, yet still approached each day with compassion and hope. That evening, as the 4 of them sat around the dinner table, Sarah, Michael, Emma, and Ethan, Sarah marveled at how a chance encounter orchestrated as a joke had led to this new family they were carefully building together. Not perfect, not without challenges, but real and honest and full of possibility. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as pranks. Sometimes the person sitting next to you on a plane is exactly who you need to meet, even if you don't discover who they really are until later. And sometimes, the heart knows what it needs long before the mind catches up. Asterisk if this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Life has a way of bringing the right people into our lives at exactly the right moment, sometimes through the most unexpected circumstances. Share in the comments if you've ever had a chance encounter that changed your life forever, asterisk.